What's up, everybody, and thank you for listening to Mastering the Mindset. My name is Dariusdotch, and I'm an actor, hip-hop artist, and fitness and life coach. And I'm here to personally help you train and improve your mindset so that you can, 1, become the best version of yourself mentally, and 2, gain focus and motivation to be able to take action and achieve the success in life that you want and deserve. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to my channel, and at the end of this episode, if you liked it, please share it with a friend or loved one or someone who would benefit from hearing this message. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm ready to go on this journey with you, and that journey begins now. All right, and welcome back to another episode. So today, it's going to be another one of those episodes where I kind of light a fire under your ass a little bit. And that's for you and for me, because I think both of us may be doing this same little song and dance that we tend to do often. Whatever that goal you have or whatever that thing is you're working on, it can be a challenge to be proud of yourself for where you're at right now in your life, in your career, your relationships, whatever it may be, and be excited about where you're going to go and the person you're becoming in that pursuit of those goals and that vision. It for real can be this balancing act, right? So today I want to help you be able to change your perspective to be able to look at where you are differently and see a different picture, a different story than whatever negative one you might have in your mind that you've been telling yourself. Because today, tomorrow, yesterday, the day after tomorrow, next week, next month, right now, the way you show up for yourself right here, right now, and moving forward is going to shape the way your future looks. It's going to determine what success you have or don't have. So today I'm going to give you 2 concepts, both of them that have to do with art, that's going to hopefully give you the shift you need. So one of those concepts I've actually spoken on before, but I want to talk about it again because 1, I think it's a real cool concept and I want to bring it back to the front of your memory. And 2, I think it's something that we need to practice often. And now is the perfect time, especially if you're in a season where you feel like you're not doing enough or you're not as far as you should be or want to be. So let's dive in. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is called pointillism. Pointillism is a type of art and it involves tiny dots or strokes of paint, right? It's not lines or broad strokes of a pencil or paintbrush, but small dots or marks or spots. And up close, that's exactly what it looks like a bunch of randomly put together spots and dots on a canvas. But from a distance, when you look at it, all those dots and strokes visually blend together and they make a piece of art, a picture, or whatever it is, whatever the artwork is, it becomes more visible. You can see it from a distance. Up close, those tiny dots and strokes feel random and they don't seem like they really make a difference. But when you step back and you change your perspective and look at the big picture, you can see how those tiny dots add up and make art. And you probably know where I'm going with this, but I think this is a valuable perspective to have when we look at our lives, because it's easy to get caught up in the daily, right? Those day-to-day tasks, the motions, doing the things that we need to do, and we don't slow down to think about the big picture. It's important to slow down every now and then and think about all these tiny little things that you're doing that may seem pretty easy to do or unimportant. And it's easy to just think of it as a throwaway thing. We don't really see it as this massive action. But those tiny little things that you've been choosing to do are just as easy not to do. And we have to remember that. When you make that decision, when you make those conscious choices to do the things, they begin to compound. And that's how you created the life you have right now. When you think about your life and where you are right now, there were a whole lot of tiny little choices that you made day in and day out that got you to exactly where you are right here, right now. And you can connect the dots if you go backwards and look at the choices you've been making. But again, it's easy when you're right in the middle of it and you're working towards something. It can be easy to feel like you're not doing enough. And thinking about it in terms of pointillism can really change your perspective. And one of the important things to compare is if, let's say, you have a day off. We all have those, right? And you've been putting in a whole bunch of work, a whole bunch of days, and an off day is inevitable. But just like in pointillism, if one dot or stroke is off, when you back up and look at the big picture, it has no effect on it. The picture is still beautiful. It still looks like what it was meant to look like. So when you have that off day, take a step back, look at the big picture. Take that day as just what it is, a day, not the whole thing, not your complete goal, because you're not going to accomplish those big goals in a day, right? It takes time. It takes all those small actions, all that grinding, all that time, all those days put together to get the big picture. And one dot won't ruin it. One dot, one off day, one mistake, one setback ain't going to ruin the big picture. So give yourself some grace when you have that off day. You ain't a robot. You can't be perfect. That's impossible. Just remember how the tiny things add up, and that if you keep putting in the work and doing the things necessary, that canvas is going to have a hell of a lot of dots on it. So don't let one stop you. Don't let one dot stop you. So when you ask yourself, am I doing enough? The answer is yes. Is yes. You probably need to change your perspective and step back and see the picture that is being made in front of you. Your focus might just be too zoomed in. You're getting yourself there, dot by dot. So if you're in a season of change or lack of motivation because you feel like you ain't doing enough, or you're in a season of wanting more, or you want to make a change, maybe you've been feeling emotional lately, problems with your family, maybe you're experiencing loss. And that could be due to change, right? Because with change comes the loss of familiarity. You're challenging yourself, you're stretching, you're growing emotionally, right? Doing these tiny little things, those tiny little strokes, day in and day out, can feel like a lot. And I just want to remind you that it all matters. It all matters. It all adds up. And I want to remind you that you actually have more control than you think. And also, we need to start rewarding ourselves for those tiny little actions and recognize that they are getting you somewhere. Direction is more important than speed, and those tiny actions matter. What's up, what's up, what's up? I want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for listening to this episode, and to also let you know that this podcast is 100% donation driven, which means it's completely funded by you, the listener. So if you like the content I have to offer, I would love it if you can make a donation and you get to pick the amount. I left links in the description of the video as well as my homepage. You can choose which way benefits you the best to donate. And if you need more options, please feel free to email me at dariusdotch@gmail.com. That's dariusdotch@gmail.com. Again, thank you so much for being here, and let's get back to it. And by using the pointillism way of viewing life, going after those things you've been going after is going to be more sustainable and honestly, more enjoyable. Why? Because you're not waiting for this milestone that you visualize in your head to present itself to you just to feel proud. You have to enjoy the whole process in pursuit of that goal. You have to enjoy the person you're becoming and the process that it takes. And look, we want to stretch and grow and evolve, right? So really, waiting to feel like you finally arrived should be something we don't really want, because we're looking for growth, trying to achieve growth. We should never feel like we arrived, because we're going to naturally get to a place where that mark, that destination is going to change slightly because we're growing. And feeling like you've arrived is actually a comfort zone. I made a post the other day about me being in the Guthrie and how I'm in a show there. And it's huge for my career. And of course, I'm happy about it. And I understand what it can potentially do for me in the future. But a friend of mine sent me a message that same day responding to my post saying, quote unquote, "You've arrived." And honestly, I never had that feeling. I haven't felt that way yet. Why? Because now that I'm here, I'm focused on doing the best I can possibly do on that stage. I'm focused on making sure that this door will open for me again in the future. I'm focused on how I can be better. I don't feel like I've arrived. I feel like I actually hit a reset button. Like on Super Nintendo, I hit the reset button and put a brand new game in, and I'm starting at level 1. Same console, which is me, but a brand new game, a better game. And now I have to put in that work to beat this game. And that's the way it should be when you're experiencing your own personal growth. New game, level 1. And before I move on, let me just remind you that in whatever goal you're pursuing right now, remember this: the outcome is never guaranteed. But what is guaranteed is the process. You cannot skip the process. So we have to stop beating ourselves up when we get to a place where we question if we're doing enough. We feel like we should be there by now, right? This is actually the process, and you cannot get around that. And the next concept I want to touch on real quick is called wabi-sabi. And what it is a Japanese concept, and it's a view that's described as one of appreciating beauty that is imperfect, not permanent, and incomplete. And the point I want to get at with this is if we give ourselves this visual reminder that even the missed marks or paths that may not be perfect are still beautiful, we can give ourselves that compassion we need to keep showing up. Because we go through that season of feeling like we're not doing enough or feeling like we keep messing up. If we have a misstep, it can be easy to throw in the towel or be super down about it. Why? Well, as humans, we have what I call a fantasy, and we think we want to go through life where it's all smooth sailing, and we put in the work, and we get the shit done, and we kill it, and we have all the motivation we need, and if we just try and stick with it and work hard, it'll be all sunshine and roses and butterflies. But there's no growth if it's all rainbows and butterflies and sunshine and smooth sailing. And there's also not as much pride and joy in it, because if it's easy, was it really something to be extremely proud of? Because if it's easy, that means anybody can do it. You know the feeling, right? When you accomplish something that was hard and you feel proud because you're the person who put in that work. You're the person that knows the path that you had to take to get to where you got. And nobody can take that shit away from you, because that was hard and you did it. You did that. And it felt good once you achieved it. All those times you wanted to give up along the way, all those times you had to change your perspective along the way, all the times you maybe needed to ask for help, and maybe that moment is right now for you. It definitely is for me. We're in this thing. We're putting in the work. We're messing up. We're making slow progress. We're grinding. It's hard to find the motivation, hard to be positive. We feel like we ain't doing enough. And just imagine how it's going to feel on the other side of it all. You'll look back at this moment right here, right now, and that perspective shift of pointillism and wabi-sabi will all make sense. And just like in the concept of wabi-sabi, it'll all perfectly add up, even all the mistakes, because at the end of the day, it was all necessary. You had to experience it. You had to go through it. Whatever it is you're dealing with right now, you have to deal with it. It's part of the process. It's part of growth. It's part of you becoming that person you're going to become. And imagine how it's going to feel, right? And that alone should be enough to remind you that, hell yeah, I'm doing enough. You don't want it to all be perfect. It can't be. You don't want it to be. So this is a reminder. Hell yes, you're doing enough. Take a step back. Look at the big picture you're making. Look at the imperfections. And remember that one badly placed dot won't ruin the big picture. And dust yourself off. Keep going. You're doing it exactly the way it needs to be done. So that's what I got for you today. If you like this episode, please share it with somebody that can benefit from this, somebody who is a friend or a family member, somebody who has goals and is trying to improve their lives. So thank you again, and let's get it in.